Welcome to Priestess Initiations, the Goddess Coven. I'm Casey Dunn, educator, priestess, and professional somatic therapist. In April 2025, I went through a priestess initiation of old and launched the Priestess Initiations podcast 6 months later. Whatever brought you here today, I invite you to drop into the spiral with me. Let's begin. Welcome to Priestess Initiations, the Goddess Coven. I'm Casey, your host. Last week I was sick. COVID took me out. And being sick has a way of slowing you down enough to hear what's actually trying to come through. So this week, as I'm recovering, you're getting something a little different, and honestly, something I think is going to become a regular of this podcast. I'm calling it a spontaneous transmission. No notes, no outline, no weekly transits, just me showing up in complete authenticity, which is one of my words for 2026, and trusting what wants to be said. You might get a spontaneous transmission when I'm under the weather, or when I'm traveling, or when a goddess I hadn't planned to speak about is calling so loudly I can't ignore her. Or sometimes just because something wants to come through and I'm following it. Sometimes these will be pre-recorded and held until the moment they're meant to be released. Other times they'll arrive more spontaneously, dropping in when they're ready. Either way, they're always real, captured exactly as they came through. And last week, I missed my regular episode drop. So this week, I'm making it up to you. You're getting 2 episodes, the Queen Archetype episode and this, a transmission from Hecate that wouldn't wait. Sometimes missing a beat just makes room for something better. Your weekly astrology transits are still over on Patreon every Monday. Links in the show notes, but right now, Hecate's at the crossroads and she has something to say. So settle in, take a breath, and let's see where this goes. So normally I won't talk about astrology just in case I hold these episodes back, but to not mention the eclipse portal right now as I talk about Hecate, the goddess of liminal spaces, the one who holds the keys between worlds, would be silly. And so I'm not going to get into the exact transit details, but we all know we were just in eclipse season. And eclipse season happens about every 6 months, and it's a portal. It's a portal moment throughout all of eclipse season. And for me, this particular eclipse season has been very much still a releasing portal. Even though we have entered Year of the Fire Horse, there's still stuff slewing off, and it's felt like there's a body releasing. There are definitely teachers out there that would call this cellular upgrade, right? You've heard that term. And for me, there's a piece of that feels true, in that I think when our nervous systems are healing, our bodies physically do heal. And in a way, that's an upgrade. And it's odd to be talking about nervous system healing as it seems like everything in the collective is burning. And it is burning. And it's scary. And it's a hard time to be human right now. And part of what gets me through that is remembering that we're souls having an embodied experience. That we are learning about being human. And we don't need to be perfect at it. And the other piece that gets me through these liminal portals, these spaces between when everything's wishy-washy, is remembering I hold the keys. This is Hecate's message. Hecate tells you, you hold the keys. Like she's the keeper of the keys. But archetypes, all archetypes are within you. Hecate is a goddess. She's an archetype. She's an energy in the archetypal realm, if you ask me. And she's within you. Like, you have an inner Hecate. You have a part of you that holds the keys. And so, what does that mean? To me, being a keeper of your own keys means that you stop giving away your power. And this is hard. I do this, and every episode when we're talking about astrology and we're relating stuff to it, I try really hard not to be doom and gloom about it, not to say Mercury's in retrograde, the world's ending, which it's not, by the way. And I view Mercury retrograde as a chance to focus on body communication, on what our bodies are saying and how our bodies can communicate with each other through body-based language rather than so much intellectual language, because Mercury rules the mind and mental communication. And so the more you can get into the body and body-based communication during that time, I think that's the point, honestly. But we give away our power all the time. I do it. I see my friends do it. I see other spiritual practitioners do it. I see teachers do it. I see everyone in the world giving away their power constantly. And what that means is to believe that there's something outside yourself that is taking away your sovereignty. It doesn't mean you can't find comfort in spiritual beliefs and spiritual systems. It doesn't mean you can't pull a oracle card that says today's a magical day and believe today's a magical day and walk through the world like that, and the day is more magical because of it. It doesn't mean synchronicity is not real. It doesn't mean there aren't signs. It just means that you always have choice. Because everything, whether it's a psychic reading, a tarot reading, astrology, an Akashic Records reading, all of it is just trying to communicate to you what you need to know in this moment based on everything that's led up to this moment. So when you're trying to predict the future, right? The future is subject to change for the fact that we have choice. The future is subject to change because we have choice, because we hold the keys. So any prediction that we make, whether it's the year of the fire horse will be full steam ahead, it's likely, but that could look a billion different ways based on the choices we make. Because you hold the keys, right? If you pull the Tower card in the tarot deck, you can read it as doom and gloom. You can read it as, oh no, my entire life is about to fall apart. Or you can read it as something that's no longer serving me is about to collapse. And you can choose to let it. It doesn't have to be an external collapse. It doesn't have to be something forced upon you. You can choose your own path. You can choose change. And this is a little wisdom from my own therapist. Yes, therapists have therapists. You can choose to rest. And that was me. That was me last week. Because there was this eclipse portal happening. I had all these things I wanted to shed and release. I was like, now's the time. I gotta work through all these body-based traumas in an even deeper layer than I've ever done before, and I need to shut it all off before next Tuesday, before the Virgo eclipse. which is not true. It's not objectively true. And what is objectively true is that I can do that anytime. Anytime I want to shed, anytime I want to release, I want to let go, I can choose to do that. I can release during a new moon. Is it advised? Maybe not by some, but I can. I can manifest during a full moon. Is it advised? Maybe not by some, but I can, right? It's anytime, anywhere, I have the power to do the thing. So Hecate's message is this: you hold the keys. You hold the power to your own life, to your next step, to what door opens and what door closes. If you don't like the doors you're looking at, make a new one. If you don't like where you are, leave, step out of it. And this is not to acknowledge that systems and institutions and our world don't impact our choices. Sometimes our choices are limited by external circumstances. Sometimes they're significantly limited based on privilege and identity. But we do have choice, whether that choice is small or big. And it's my belief that when you make a choice, a door opens. And sometimes it's a small choice that opens a big door. You don't know. And that's the scary part too. And that's sitting in the unknown, sitting in this place of, I don't know what doors are closing. I don't know what doors are opening. I don't know where this road leads. I can only see 2 steps ahead, maybe 1. And there's a piece of this that's just trust. So it is trusting. It's trusting in the unknown, but it's trusting in your ability, your capacity to navigate the unknown. The ultimate trust comes from trusting yourself. Trusting yourself and those around you, your support system. But that's also trusting yourself. It's trusting yourself that no matter where you go, you can build a support system. That no matter where you go, you can find your people. And it might take a bit. It might not. But you'll be okay. So what else is wanting to come through from Hecate? I'm feeling body. I'm feeling some body wisdom here. And yeah, I think one of Hecate's big messages is that you're whole unto yourself. That you are inherently whole. And this is because she represents the 3 faces of the divine feminine: Maiden, Mother, and Crone. And she is all 3, yet she's often only depicted as the wise old crone. The reason for that is likely to diminish her power, right? Patriarchy doesn't like powerful women. Hecate is the most powerful of them all. She's a titan. She is the only titan that wasn't imprisoned in Tartarus because Zeus and Hades and Poseidon deemed her too powerful to get trapped with the rest of them, too necessary to universal order. But there's this piece of Hecate that is very deeply feminine. And feminine energy is earth. It's body and earth. Just as we would say divine masculine energy is consciousness. It's heavens. It's like this upward pull. Divine feminine energy is down. It's rooted. It's deep. And so there's a piece of Hecate that is really deep. And you'll see her often depicted lighting a torch for Persephone and or Demeter through the tunnels of the underworld, right? Part of what's happening right now, and Persephone's doing something really interesting in the sky. I know I said I wasn't going to do astrology, but she's doing something really cool. So what's happening with Persephone right now, in layman's terms, is she's hanging out with Venus. And they're active. And there's a lot of karmic energy right now. The full moon eclipse in Virgo, yes. But there's also, this is a south node eclipse. It's lighting up kind of the collective south node. And Persephone's with Venus during that, and Mercury's retrograde in Pisces. And so there's a lot of stuff happening. And I don't have all the transits in front of me because the entire point of these spontaneous transmissions is that I don't have any of that in front of me. So I'm just going off of what I know. But a piece of this with Venus and Persephone often in astrology, Persephone is the queen archetype. I love that I did the queen. Actually, we're going to do a whole Persephone episode again in a few weeks, I think, for the equinox, for the spring equinox. But she also represents the maiden often. She, as Kore, is the maiden. And when she's hanging out with Venus, and there's this south node energy, that's where we're coming from. So that's where Persephone is coming from, the maiden. The maiden is being asked to mature, to grow up. And to do so, she needs a guide. The guide is Hecate. Persephone's guide has always been Hecate. And so there's something interesting happening with that as I'm sitting here and talking about it. Because a piece of shedding maiden is coming back into body. And Hecate actually is a very capable guide for this. We don't talk about it a lot. I don't hear people talking about Hecate and body. But it feels really potent and powerful. Because often our body is the last to shed. Often, our body is the last to shed, whatever it is we're working on. And I want you to think about it like this. So think of a message that you've carried your whole life. Maybe it's a message of, I don't deserve. Yeah, maybe just that. I don't deserve, right? I'm not deserving. And so you can work with that message a lot mentally and get to the point where you're like, well, that's silly. Everyone deserves happiness. Everyone deserves joy. And I'm part of everyone, so I deserve joy. You can eventually get there. You can convince your brain of this. But that message that you carried for so long, it also lives in your body, in your tissues. And moving it out of there is a different story. It's trickier. There's a lot of really cool techniques for this in somatic therapies. EMDR has some pathways of accessing memory networks to try to move this on a deeper level and working with the body in that as well, if you have a good practitioner. So that's something you can look into out in the world on your own time. But in this episode, I just want to talk about the body and this eclipse and Hecate and moving stuff through the body. Because I'm not the only person I know in the last few weeks has gotten sick. A lot of people have gotten sick. And it's a hard time to be sick. It's a hard time of year. Everyone is trying to recover their finances from the holidays and inflation, and taking time off work is not convenient. Everyone is trying to get back out there and start new routines and start putting more movement in their bodies again with that spring energy coming. You can feel it. You can feel spring. In me, it feels restless. It's like I want to be doing. But we've been asked to not do, to just be this past few weeks, this eclipse season. There's been this big ask to just be in being. And when you're sick, you're forced to be in being. You can keep trying to do, but it doesn't work out very well. Take it from someone who has to learn that lesson again and again. But every time I come back into being when I'm sick, and I've been learning how to do that for a long time, stuff in the body moves. And I've started to observe this, that things in the body are moving and shifting and clearing. And so I think part of what's been happening this eclipse season is a moving and shifting and clearing of the body. And Hecate is guiding us through this too, because she's asking us to be okay with not knowing, to be okay with being in the in-between a little longer. And it's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable to be in that liminal space. And yet, that's the space where the deepest transformation happens. It's in those caves. It's in trusting, I don't know the next step, but I'm going to take it anyways. And in the meantime, while I'm stuck sitting in the unknown, why don't I just be? Why don't I just trust my body to move what it needs to move? Because the body naturally moves trauma. The body naturally releases old patterns, karmic patterns, when we create safety for it to do so. And that's key. This is such a key point, is our bodies know how to heal. And we have to trust that. But our bodies know how to heal when they're safe. Our bodies know how to heal when they know that we're going to give them time and space and they'll be taken care of, and there's no pressure. When we let go of the pressure of doing, that is the space of healing. That's the space of body releasing. That's the space where karmic stuff clears out of your tissues. And you do get, eventually, that cellular upgrade idea, which is hip language for some of what I'm talking about. And I sound very not hip using the word hip. But this piece of our bodies naturally know how to heal feels really important. It's that trust again. It's that trust that when you're in the in-between and you come back to a state of being and trust that you hold the keys, the door will appear. It'll appear when it's ready, when you're ready, when your body's ready. And you hold the keys to the doors. You hold the keys to the paths. You get to choose. But you can choose to rest. You can choose to heal. You can choose to be. You can choose not to always be doing. And I think that's part of Hecate's message right now, this eclipse cycle that feels really important as we move into a season that we've all been talking about is a season of building new structures, a season of doing, right? Moving toward Capricorn energy. It's okay to pause. It's okay to integrate. It's okay to be in the in-between a little longer. And it's okay to let your body move whatever it needs to move. To trust that process. I think that's it. I think that's what I wanted to say today. Feeling concluded. So this is our first spontaneous transmission episode. I'll set up a poll in the comments. Let me know how you like it. And there will be more. Sometimes I will record them in advance. Sometimes they'll be same week. I'm definitely going to have to record a few in advance because I want to not leave you hanging if I get sick again. And also, it's practicing what I preach. It's giving my body the spaciousness that it needs when I'm sick to let go of the pressure of there's this thing that I need to do. It's no, I'm set up. I've set my systems and structures up so that I can do less. And maybe that's part of why this lesson's coming in right now. Right before the build, right before all this Capricorn energy. Because we need to set up systems and structures that allow us to be. Because the state of being is the state of healing and it's the state of the feminine. And in this new world we're building, this new earth, we don't want to repeat the same patterns again and again. And that means we can't forget the feminine this time. We can't forget the body. We can't forget that we hold the keys. And we can't forget the state of being. Subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. Trust the spiral. This podcast offers spiritual and psychological education and priestess wisdom. This is not therapy, counseling, or mental health treatment. If you need mental health support, please contact a licensed provider. And in a mental health emergency in the U.S., call 988.